Lawmakers are back to work tackling a long list of legislative goals. The 60-day session could tackle anything from the taxes you pay to the rules that your local police department has to follow. Joining us now is Austin Jenkins with the Public Radio Northwest News Network. Austin, good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you too, Mimi.
So, Austin, what are the big priorities for each party right now?
Well, of course, Democrats are in charge of both the House and the Senate, and COVID is still going on, and there's still federal relief money to spend. So certainly there's going to be a focus on continuing to navigate this crisis. Democrats are talking a lot about the unevenness of the economic recovery and trying to get help to people who are suffering the most. Of course, last year there was a lot of rent assistance money put into the budget. This year they're talking about expanding a brand new program, which is a working families tax credit to expand income eligibility. Republicans are talking a lot about the state's healthy balance sheet and saying maybe it's time to give some of that money back in the form of tax breaks. They're also hitting the topic of public safety really hard.
Back in late October, we asked Washington voters what they think the state legislature's biggest focus should be in the next session. At the time, the top issue was homelessness, followed closely by the economy, then COVID and policing. How are lawmakers looking at these issues?
I think they've been looking at that same poll, Mimi. Certainly homelessness is top of mind. It's top of mind for the governor when he rolled out his proposed update to the state's two-year budget back in December. He talked a lot about homelessness. He's proposing to put another $800 million in kind of on top of what was already put in the current budget. He's very focused on building more units to get people into permanent supported housing, talking about 2,500 additional units. Of course, we know this problem is really big and seems very intractable. And lawmakers are also saying there's no quick solutions here. Regarding the economy, as I said, the sense is that the recovery has been uneven, but for the state has weathered this quite well. The state has very healthy reserves, and so there's going to be a big debate, I think, about what to do, where to spend more, and as I mentioned before, whether to start cutting taxes in some form or fashion.
One of the things that a lot of people have been paying attention to, because it affects just about everyone in Washington state, is the long-term care tax, the Washington Cares Fund. Democrats are looking to delay this payroll deduction. Where do we stand on that?
Yeah, you asked about top priorities. This is a top priority for Democrats. This is a program, a first in the nation program that they started passed back in 2019, that payroll tax kicking in this month, and they've realized this thing isn't ready for prime time. So they're going to hit the pause button for about 18 months. They are going to refund payroll taxes that any employers collected this month and next month. And then they're going to start to deal with some of the problems with that program, like people who would pay into it but never benefit. But this is really going to be a 2 sessions worth of changes before they relaunch this program. And I think they heard the frustration from the public. There were a lot of constituent calls to lawmakers saying, wait, what is this? Why am I going to be paying for this? But I'll tell you, Democrats are very committed to this program. They think it's needed.
And lastly, a lot of people are concerned about some of the police reform laws that were passed last year. Lawmakers will be revisiting some of those. What are the concerns over these laws?
Yeah, we've already seen public hearings this week, which tells you that this is a top priority. So one of the big issues that we heard a lot about is what happens when police are called to assist with a non-criminal matter, kind of a community assistance issue, or someone in a behavioral health crisis. So one of the bills will clarify that they can assist and that they can even use force to take somebody into a hospital who is in a crisis. There's also a bill having to do with the use of less lethal munitions to make sure that police can still use, for instance, beanbag rounds for shotguns, because there were some issues with the way that the first bill passed that the police said, look, this took some key tools that could help us prevent a deadly incident from happening, but we now can't use that less than lethal tool.
Looks like legislators have a lot to take on the next 60 days of the session. Austin Jenkins, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mimi.